Talon number 6, written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV, art by Gillum March. Last issue, Calvin went into this big security island thing and he got caught. And it turns out it's because there's like the Grandmaster or something there. This issue picks up with Sebastian Clark. He is freaking out because the Grandmaster is there, and it's like, he's trapped on an island. He's already probably dead. I'm pissed. I'm out of here. This sucks. And Casey's there, and is basically asking, how exactly do you know about the Grandmaster? You said his name, John Wycliffe. Like, I've been poring over documents. How do you know that? And he's like, it's on the database. I saw it. Like, that's not the problem here. Calvin is trapped there. And Casey's like, don't worry about him. I'm sure he's not dead yet. So then we cut inside the island. And apparently the 3 Talons that have captured Calvin are a grandfather, father, and son, who all were Talons. And they really keep on harping on the son the whole time because he did not produce an heir to continue the O'Malley bloodline of Talons. So they call him a failure repeatedly. But Calvin takes their distraction on their family legacy, advantage of that to thread a rope around 2 of their necks, use it as a tightrope to get off of the pressure pad he's on, and then the cage that he's in retracts. And he starts fighting the Talons, but as 2 of them are choking, they're like, "Grandpapa, help us, we're choking." He's like, "God, you guys suck." So they cut themselves out. Talon manages to make its way down one of the sewer tunnels further. And they're like, the turbines are about to start back up, so he's going to get flooded out. Like, it's not going to be a big deal. But, of course, the kid, the son, runs in, and he charges after Calvin, eager to prove himself. And so they get swallowed up by the sewer and all the water coming down from that. Anyway, back in the compound, Casey is like, I got a bad feeling about this. I got some instincts going on. I need to check it out. And her daughter walks in being like, hey, Sebastian's breaking a bunch of stuff in the training room. Should I go ask him if he needs a friend? And Casey's like, no, you're going to go to your room and don't ever go near that guy again because he is crazy. So then she does a search on the Court of Owls database for John Wycliffe, and it comes up blank. And so she's like, that's suspicious. So we see Calvin pull himself out of the tunnel, I guess, and he starts climbing up some rungs. And one of the Talons, of course the son, plants his knife in him, being like, there's no way out except through me. And he's like, look, kid, clearly you don't like the way your grandfather and father treat you because you didn't bring in a son. But I'm betting that was a choice, right? Like, you chose not to introduce your kid to the Talon lifestyle. You know they're evil, right? And Talon's like, maybe. And he's like, cool. If you know they're evil, could you maybe just help me? Like, I'm trying to just take them down. Can we just be cool with each other for like 5 minutes? And we don't see what happens with that. But we do cut over to Uptown Gotham, where the butcher, whatever his name is, Felix, I think, he is calling into the Court of Owls, and he's like, hey, you know how you guys wanted me to find Talon? Still haven't done that. But I am literally 10 feet away from Batman right now, and I could kill him. So that cool? And the court is like, no, don't. We do not want Batman to know we're still here, man. Do not get involved. And Felix is like, psh, you guys are a bunch of cowards. I totally want to kill Batman. So Batman, it turns out, was going to the scene of the crime where Felix killed some random couple. And so he's like, okay, someone with extremely large hands and like possibly claws did this. And as he jumps out the building, he sees the claw marks that Felix left on the spire he was clinging onto. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the Court of Owls said, hey, Felix, keep it alone, or else we're going to detonate the cryo bombs that we placed behind your eyeballs. And so Felix is like, I'm going to pull those things out. And so he jabs his claws into his eyes and starts peeling around for him. So anyway, the 2 elder O'Malleys are saying how much of a failure their younger one is and how he's shouldn't be thinking for himself or whatever, and how he's probably already dead. But then he shows up with Calvin draped over his shoulders being like, yeah, I did it. Now let's go show him off to the Grandmaster. So then we go back to the compound, and turns out that Casey's kid didn't listen, and she's just showing Sebastian all of her Pokemon on her game system. And Casey makes her way up to the penthouse, has to use an override code to get in there. But then we cut back to Calvin, and Calvin meets up with the Grandmaster, and he's like, hey, hi, I'm the Grandmaster and current CEO of Securitas Island. Thank you so much for doing the work of the Court of Owls. And he's like, what do you, huh? What? What are you saying? And he's like, look, I'm not the Grandmaster who recruited you. I started like just a couple months ago, but let me just tell you everything that happened in the meantime. There was a guy who was in the Court of Owls who's named Lincoln March, but don't worry, we're not going to mention that. He teamed up with the Grandmaster at the time in order to usher in like a quote-unquote new age, and he poisoned a bunch of our members at dinner. Then we kind of realized we don't want him to be a Grandmaster because he's willing to poison his own people, so we kicked him out, and I became Grandmaster. And all of the things that you've been doing on the behalf of the old Grandmaster. And he's like, no, I've been taking away stuff from the Court of Owls. And he's like, no, you've been taking away stuff from the real Court of Owls to go back to the annoyed that we kicked him out old Grandmaster. And he's like, that's impossible. You're lying. And he's like, nope. Turns out that your old buddy Sebastian Clark is the former Grandmaster of the Court of Owls. And he's the one who recruited you. So, I think I said back in like issue 1, oh, this guy's going to be evil. Called it. Yeah, so obviously Sebastian Clark is the bad guy here. Or, you know, everyone's shades of morally gray. But he's definitely on the darker gray side. So, do I like the reveal? Yes. Oh, and by the way, when Casey made her way up to the penthouse, she found Sebastian's safe that had a bunch of his Court of Owls stuff. So it's definitely 100% true. Do I like the reveal? I'd say yes. I think it's well enough written. It's interesting enough. The hints were there. I'm intrigued. I like it. In terms of how they actually managed to do it, I don't know. I kind of don't like the way of, oh, I'm the evil mastermind and I'm just going to tell you all of these things. It's like, well, maybe hold some cards close to the chest. You know, maybe they debated on whether or not they should tell him and this seemed to be the best path. But it just seems to me like he just so wants to rub it into Calvin's face. Like, you're an idiot. You've been doing all of this for the wrong person. It's like, all right, well, I don't know. Just seems, especially for a character we just met. Like this guy, John Wycliffe, we just met him. This is the first time. So I'm a bit like, who cares? I would rather it come from somebody I know a bit better. Overall, though, still a solid issue. I'll give it a flat 7, regardless. I am enjoying the series, but I'm waiting for something. I mean, I know that's big, but I don't know. I'm just waiting for. You know what I want to see is I want to see the confrontation. I want to see Calvin go up against Sebastian now that he's given him all this like money and stuff like that. I'm interested to see how that's going to pan out. So hopefully they'll stick the landing there. But this one, pretty straight 7. I'm enjoying it, but it was kind of just a lot of nothing followed by a really big bombshell. So, yeah.